mic wasn't on. Test. Test. Okay, so check my depth here. It's at 18. Now let's set this one to 18. All right, so my whole frickin' introduction is gone, not on mic. All right. All right, let's pull this back up. All right, so okay, let's start over because my mic wasn't on. This is Rob and my dog Checkers down here. Let's get him in the Checkers cam. Here's Checkers. We're on Lake Conroe in Conroe, Texas, or actually in Montgomery, Texas. The boat is headed right directly for Conroe right now, which is a little bit southeast. Lake Conroe is 25 miles long, average depth of 20 feet. The whole southern half of the lake has houses, very little shoreline, and the whole lake, or that whole half of the lake, is surrounded by a wall. So it gets pretty wavy, like a bathtub effect. When you got a lot of boats out here, the waves go to the shore, hit the wall, bounce back. It's not awful or anything, but it's noticeable compared to other lakes with a shoreline. Lots of fish in here, lots of fishermen. Largemouth bass is pretty popular for that. They have some tournaments on this lake. But probably the most popular fish here is either striped bass, not striped bass, but a hybrid striped bass that's half striped and half white bass. And then catfish, I don't know if it's popular, but you can catch a lot of them. And right now I've got a spoon on each pole, and each spoon has a shrimp. And yesterday I caught a nice catfish about this area of the lake. But I'm headed for the island over here where I've caught some striped bass and some nice catfish, or call it hybrid bass, not striped bass. And so when I get to that island, I'll find a spot where there's a lot of activity below, a lot of fish, and then I'll use my GPS anchor on my trolling motor to anchor us. Just want to check my phone here. I've got my stream going right now, so I wouldn't be able to answer your call. But I was trying to call you before I started the stream. But when I'm done, in your morning, I'll check in with you. Okay, so that's kind of an intro to Lake Conroe. So now I want to go to a new scene for a while. There we go. So now we're headed just about straight dead into the wind. up now. No chewing my cord. Okay, so if you look closely at about 12 feet in front of the boat, which would be to the right on the screen, you can see a little bit of a disturbance at 12 feet. That's my dagger board. I got the dagger board down because the boat just handles so much better, and I don't plan to go fast. You can't go over about 6 miles an hour with the dagger board down. So I've got the dagger board down, and I've also got my rudders down. So I'm steering with both the rudders and the motor at the same time. Which works really good. Well, I mean, that's the sailing configuration anyway. And I'll after I get out to my destination here and fish with the boat stopped for a while, then I'll turn around and start coming back, and the wind is going to be is in a good direction for me to sail right back all the way to the marina. Might have to tack a couple times, but and so then I'll just use my jib sail. And on a day like today, that'll get me going about 1.5 miles, 2 miles an hour. But I'll be able to troll while I'm sailing. That's the whole idea. And, you know, I'm not trying to save fuel. I'm not trying to, it's just fun. It's so unique. So the water depth is changing here. It might get a little shallow. There's a rise in the bottom of the lake, somewhere around here. So my bait is down at 14 feet right now, and we're in 24 feet of water. So I always like to keep at least 10 feet between my bait and the bottom. Checkers is pestering me for pets. He's pawing at me. We're going 1.2 miles an hour. That's not the best speed. It's a little bit too fast for catfish and too slow for striped bass. Okay, I'm going to raise this up a little bit because the depth is going over that high spot right now. That's what's cool about these downriggers. You can be constantly, fairly easily adjusting the height of the hook. So we're at 10 feet right now, roughly. Let's check our counters. So this port side downrigger and ball is the one you can see in the screen. And it's at 15 clicks. Over here, we're at 13, so that's fine. I've gotten snags here a bunch of times. Well, not a bunch, a few. And you'll see us get to about 40 feet of water coming up here between here and the island. Test. Yeah, good. Let's double check the, I'm going to double check my chat. Okay, chat seems to be working. I don't catch a whole lot of fish trolling, but I do catch a lot of enjoyment. For me, it's almost like a science project where just setting everything up, the downriggers and the pole holders and what reels to get, it was all like some research and trial and error. So I've got 2 trolling poles, or trolling, mostly like trolling reels. And this one over on this side has a counter on it. My other starboard side has a counter on the reel. Port side doesn't. If I ever have to get a new reel, I'll get another one with a counter. And with the downriggers and the live scope, I don't really need the counters, but it's just nice to have. If my scope ever goes out or something, it does malfunction every once in a while, and I gotta do a little bit of troubleshooting. But even my live streaming setup. Let's go to another scene here. Okay. This has taken a lot of research and a lot of trial and error to get it to work properly. In fact, it's still not working properly. Now I got problems with my Osmo camera that I keep on my head. I'll have to troubleshoot that maybe tonight. No, not tonight, because I'm not staying on the boat tonight. Unless I should. I don't know. We'll see. Hardly anybody on the lake today. I see 1, 2. I like to, every once in a while, I like to count the quantity of boats that I can see. Three. That's probably the least amount of boats I've ever seen. Wait, there's 4. Just spotted another one. So I see 4 boats right now, and normally it's at least 10. Probably the highest I've ever seen is like 22 on a Saturday or a Sunday. Okay, we're at 30 feet now. I'm going to drop us down a little more. So you can see it's at 10 feet. Now I'm at 15. And my counter is at 21. So let's put this one down to 21 also. There we go. Awesome. A lot of fish down there. Checkers, he just wants to be with me. That's so amazing to me that a dog is, quite a few different animals, get attached to a human, but nothing like a dog. I've had cats. We had a farm and we had cats on the farm. But the only other animal that I noticed a really decent attachment to was we had on our farm a boar goat buck, and his name was Elvis, and he was our herd sire. He created all of our babies, goats, along with the mothers, of course. But he became attached to me and would follow me around, not only the yard, but we had 40 acres and we had 2 miles of trails on the property that I kept groomed with a lawnmower. And so I would go out hunting or just for a walk, and he would follow me wherever I went. And we let him run loose. We had a road out in front of the farm, but there wasn't that many cars, and they didn't get on the road too often, but we let a lot of our goats just loose in the yard. But he would follow me into the woods. It was really cool. And of course, a buck goat can get pretty stinky. But because they pee all over themselves, for one thing. But then they probably have glands that smell as well. But this buck was not that stinky or dirty. He was cleaner than some. And he would come up to me and he'd come up and he'd rub his face, the side of his head. Oop, are we getting a bite? Yeah. I think we're getting a bite. No. It's not off the tether. I guess we're not getting a bite. Thought we were. That pole was really cranked over. How's our speed? 1.5. Anyway, it was just acting like I had a fish. If I had a fish, it would be off the tether, and you'd see the line go way back. So anyway, that goat would rub its head on me. I can't see my ball anymore. There it is. Okay, now we're in 48 feet of water. So I'm going to go down to about 25 feet. So on our counter, we're at 24. Over here, we're at 21. Okay, so hooks are at up. I wonder if I should. Anyway, goat would come and rub its face on my leg all the time, and I don't know. I just got to the point where I got it so that it was almost like a dog coming up for a pet, you know. And then he would give him a pat and scratch his head and behind his horns and everything. He just liked that. But then I loaned him out to another farm for breeding, and he came back with some kind of a disease. I don't know what it was, and he died like so fast. He died within well, he didn't actually die in 3 weeks. I had to shoot him, but he was a rack of bones in just 3 weeks. I don't recall if I noticed whether he was eating or not. I would have noticed. I just don't remember what it was. Was he not eating or was he eating? But anyway, I had to put him down. It was a really sad thing for me to do. Oh man, depth changed dramatically and quickly. Now I'm at 15 feet. 20. Okay. I think I know why. I turned to port too soon. And now I'm getting too close to that point over there, which would make it better for fishing, but I don't want to lose. I've lost lures over there, so I don't want to get over there. By over there, I mean to the port side. I can chat, but I can't do a video call because I'm connected. Okay, whoa. Almost on the freaking bottom. It's only 20 feet deep here. I should have went more that way. Yes, of course. I like to catch catfish, but any fish is good. Okay, so we're getting back into deeper water. Let's change to the Rob and Checkers cam. Oh, I like that. Weird, I've never tried that before. Okay, we're in 25 feet of water now, and the hook's at 22. We'll just leave it there for now. Let's put the autopilot on. Not yet. Well, actually, I could probably. Now I'm going to swing the bow over and head for the island and put the autopilot on. Because I'm far enough off of that point now. But that. This could be a challenge for the autopilot because the wind is coming. In fact, the wind might be swinging more south. Test. Okay, which way direction? We're headed 55 degrees east, northeast. The wind is pushing hard. Yeah, the wind is shifting directions. I would say it's coming out of the east almost directly now instead of the northeast. The autopilot's keeping up with it though. That's good. Okay, so we're in 24 feet of water, our hook's at 13, and we got a bite, I think. Might have a fish. It's not acting like a snag. Yeah, it's acting like a fish. So what I'm gonna do, yeah, it's a nice, why is he on the surface like that? It's kind of, oh, he's all snagged up. Okay, that's weird. Okay, what I'm gonna do, I can get them in like this, I think. I'll keep the autopilot on. It's not a big catfish. Somehow he got tangled up in the line. That's really weird. Okay, let's go to a different scene. Okay. Holding the pole with between my crotch. Why in the heck is he way back there? I'll have to keep this one for sure, because he's got the line wrapped around him and he's probably not going to survive. Well, that is super weird. Looks like I've hooked my net pretty good also. Okay. I gotta get my blinkers. Woo. Okay, we'll get this over here. Get it ready to bait again. Okay, we'll just leave the pole like that. And then he's not a real big one, but he's definitely big enough to keep, and he might have gotten damaged from that line. Come on. Well, this is pretty ridiculous. Can't get this thing in his mouth. Maybe because he's so small. He doesn't want to open his mouth. Okay. We'll do it this way. You got to watch out for the spikes on these things. They are freaking wicked. Ah, come on. What the fuck? Ouch. Gotta watch them buggers. He is wrapped up in this net like you would not freaking believe. Okay, there's one off. How is this possible? Come on, get off of there. Must have burrs or something, like a porcupine. Gonna damage my net. This is unbelievable. I'm not even freaking watching where I'm going. I've never had this happen. Wow. We'll put him down in the water. That's unbelievable. Wow. Okay. Okay, we're still going good. Okay, let's change now to get hooked. If I get snagged on that rope, I'm gonna have a freaking problem. That was close. Okay. Well, we got some supper. Not without any goofy nonsense problems. And I didn't spike myself. I don't think I did. All of a sudden my finger's hurting though. Okay, let's bring this ball up. Then I'll reach down and grab the tether, get that up here, and then we'll let a little bit more line out. About like so. And we'll hook the tether on it. What's our depth? 25 feet. Okay, let's start dropping our ball. There it is, 5 feet, 10. We're only in 24 foot of water. So our counter's at 15. This counter's at 12. Okay. All right, we're back in business. Autopilot held up good. We got supper. That's the first time I've ever kept trolling while I landed a fish. And that was fine. And that one had complications, of course. The line was wrapped around him. That might have been why. Well, not why. I was thinking, just trying to figure out how did that fish get that line wrapped around him like that? He bit the hook in his mouth, but yeah, he ended up getting the line wrapped around his tail. Not only wrapped around him, but you know, he couldn't get out of it. He couldn't unwrap himself, and it wasn't like snagged or choked around him or anything. Okay, we're in 23 feet and our hooks are down at about 10. That's okay for now. Test. Audio's working. Checkers is in his happy spot. I just caught a nice catfish. So we'll be having supper tonight. I've heard it's possible, but you would need a VPN software. So that you could get to YouTube. All right, it's a beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky, I don't think. Sun is glistening off of the lake. headed for an island, and then we'll stop the boat, and I'll use the trolling motor as an anchor, and then we'll fish stationary for a while. Okay, let's change the scene. Okay, so we're in 19 feet of water. This is a really shallow spot, and we're just about in the middle of the lake. So I should have been watching. I don't see any fish down there, but maybe when the water starts getting deep again, we'll be going down a ledge. And there's usually fish at the ledges. Okay, here comes some bait fish. And look at all of the bigger fish below that ball of bait. Yeah, look at all the fish following that bait. Now, we could have stopped right there, anchored the boat with the trolling motor. In fact, I'm going to bring that trolling motor up. Just get it ready. I'm going to deploy it. There it goes, it's going up. All right, so it's ready. Now we could actually, because I'm all set up for trolling, I don't want to stop in the middle of the lake. I'll stop when I get to the island, and then I'll take the two trolling lines off of the downriggers, and I'll just dangle them about 2 feet off the bottom. And then I got another third pole up here that I'll do the same thing with. So I'll end up with 3 lines. Okay, we're at 25 feet of water, and we're at 10 feet on the hook. And I know it's going to get deeper, so I'm going to go down just about 2 or 3 feet to 18. And then we'll go to 18 over here. Okay, now we're at 40 feet. So let's go down. I'm going to go down to 20. We're at 27 on the clicker. $27. Okay, I'm going to turn the autopilot off and change course just a hair. I bet you I know who that is. It might be the guy that took me fishing once. Okay, autopilot's back on. Depth is 48 feet. That line was acting weird right there. Whoops, excuse me. Music's holding up good. Nobody in chat. These are the ingredients. Can you see the bubbles from fermentation of the starter? Three hours of folding the dough every 30 minutes. Baking. your piece of sourdough bread with butter on. Okay, I'm going to adjust our course again a little bit. Okay. So we're approaching an island here, and I'll have to, it'll get shallow. So my hooks are at 20 feet right now. $21 feet. So I'll bring the hooks up, and then when I get to we'll start looking for fish. And then when I see some, I'll drop the trolling motor down and GPS anchor it to hold us over the top of the fish, and then we'll change up the lines, remove them from the downriggers, and check the bait, and also then we'll just dangle them about 2 feet off the bottom. Weird, I could hear a boat, but I don't see one. The other thing is, I've been out like about 3 times now, and none of the big, loud speedboats have been out. Usually you see 1 or 2 of those a day. This is very peaceful, even with the engine running. I love it. Should start getting shallow soon. We're at 45 feet right now. Hooks are at 20. We're getting fairly close to the island. I'm surprised our depth is so deep yet. Let's go to that camera right there. I don't like that one. Here comes a ball of bait fish. 2 balls. They're going right, the hook's going right through them. Wow, there's a massive house on the corner over there. I've never seen that before. We lost our music. Or maybe we're just in between songs. Okay, now we're starting to see more fish, and the depth is at 40 feet. So I'm going to lower the trolling motor now, slow our speed down a little bit. So we'll get it ready to anchor. And we'll bring this up a little bit. We'll go about 15 feet for now, which is, wow. $19 on the clicker. Okay. Haven't seen much in the line of fish yet. We're pretty close to the island. I'm going to show you the island. There. That's the island. It looks like it's far away, but it's not. Okay, we're in 31 feet of water. Now, yesterday I found quite a lot of fish. I'm headed for that same spot, and I think I was at about 25 feet of water. But we'll just slowly keep going alongside the island up here until we find a bunch of fish below. $27. There's a huge ball of bait fish. A couple of fish right by my hook right now. Ooh, one almost bit, I think. We're at 20 feet, so let's come up to 10. Okay, there's some fish, but not very many. There's one right at the bottom. I need to pull these up anyway. Okay, we'll get ready to anchor ourselves as soon as we see some fish. I'm at 12 feet. Wow. Five feet of water. Okay, I'm just going to anchor right here for now and change my bait around. Why are we only in 5 feet of water? That is weird. I gotta bring these up anyway. Okay. Okay, so now I'll take the anchor off and we'll start moving again, looking for fish. My dagger board was getting close to hitting. I don't recall ever, they both say 6 feet of water. I don't recall ever seeing it so shallow here. Weird. Okay, 6.5. Okay, they're starting to go down. Okay, 9, 10. Now I'm getting out where I want to be. So I'll watch for that next time. I got to come in at a different angle. 11 feet. I'm not seeing any fish though. Nothing to speak of. Tether off. We got bait. Not much though. Okay, there's some fish. So let's anchor. They're gone already, but this would be a good spot to get everything ready at least. Okay. Now we'll drop this down. Yeah, there's some fish down there. We're in 13 feet of water. Look, you can see my hook. Awesome. Let's turn it a little bit this way. There it is, I think. Just leave that right there. We'll pull this guy in. We'll take the tether off. Get it untangled. Test. Let's do this scene now. Okay. No bait. So okay. We're in 13 feet of water, so let's do this clicker. 4, 7, 10, 15. Okay, so I'm not on the bottom yet. Now I am. So we'll bring it up about 3 or 4 clicks. Oh. All right. How does this one look? Okay, there's some fish down there. Now let's go back to this scene right here while I go up and get my other pole. Get a shrimp. Okay. We'll drop this down to the bottom. It's down there. Uh-oh. What in the fuck is going on here? There we go. Put this down here, and we'll just lay that pole right there. Let's look at the other lines. They look okay. Okay, now I can shut this motor off. Should have shut it off before. Okay, so we got a lot of fish down there. They don't look exceptionally big though. And we'll just kind of watch our lines. No action on the lines, and I don't see much in line of fish below. Okay, let's see. Oh, shit. Dang it. Okay, I might move here soon. Okay, we got some fish down there. They're not biting today though.